the rogues, the combat groups of the possessed themselves, and a whole horde of zealots. The only problem they could run into would be the absence of coordination and their mutual contempt for each other. This was the first thing which had to be dealt with, because, as the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy. As if in answer to her thoughts, a strange new presence singed her psi perception. Powerful and malicious, the person arrived out of nowhere, using some strange azuric technique reminiscent of ancient magic. She swung round, then instinctively stepped backwards. Although she'd had no idea which one of the zealots might come to represent them, this was the one person she least wanted to see. The empty void lurking within his long dark blue headdress was one big clump of hatred and malicious will. If he'd ever been a regular Inca once, he'd long lost all semblance of human form. The sight of him reminded her of the reason why so many Incarnators chose to shun higher evolutions. To warriors, it meant some irreversible bodily transformations, while technomancers became mechanical abominations, and with enchanters, it betrayed their spine-chilling azuric nature. Enveloped in a cloud of mist, the man stopped a few paces away from her. Witch felt her eyelashes and eyelids turn to ice as the aura of bitter cold burned her skin. This man's rare source and his powerful azuric genomods had transformed him into a veritable embodiment of the element of ice. With a startle, she activated higher metabolism in order to speed her body up and resist his attack. As rumor had it, this particular Incarnator had no time for those of his brethren unable to suffer his proximity, considering them weaklings not worthy of his attention. "Witch," he uttered mentally, his subvocal intonations offending her mind like rusty steel on glass. "Aeneas." In the past, not all Incarnators had been so eager to join the First Legion. This particular strategy of Prometheus's may have been questionable, but it had still been effective. It had allowed the City Incas faction to become the strongest among all the other groups, and create the most powerful state on Earth. But even before the arrival of the possessed, the Inca ranks had counted many renegades, outlaws, and all those who preferred to retain their independence. Many of them had gone on the run and lain low, cut off from the terminals and stripped of their access to the stellar system. Having spent years roaming the wastelands, exploring A-zones and collecting all sorts of the most incredible genomes, the surviving renegade Incas had progressed quickly. Quite a few of them had lost their minds and their human form in the process, becoming the reason for new alerts. Although thinned out by Prometheus's purge, the survivors had come in possession of enormous power and truly diabolical wit. This man's real name was believed to have been lost through time. He was now known under a great many faces and monikers: Aeneas, Frost, Frigid, and the Lord of Ice, to name but a few. In Prometheus's time, it had been said that the cube was crying out for him, but the cruel and cunning renegade had never fallen into the city's clutches. From what Witch had gleaned, he used to be one of Lefty's assistants in the Black Rose cult, whose nest had later been destroyed by Castor's raid. There had been times when she'd hunted similar renegades herself, but times had changed. These were the only allies the possessed could now afford. Aeneas was considered one of the zealots' cult leaders. There were apparently others who kept their names and identities a closely guarded secret, some of whom lived among the fanatics deep in A-zones, while others served as temple guards of Urgentum. Yet others were suspected of having joined the ranks of tinkers, the hired headhunters. Now all of them had gathered here like a flock of vultures, attracted by the city's riches and hoping to grab their share of the fabulous loot. Before, it had been Lefty who'd brought all the links of this tangled chain together.